Hi beautiful souls, welcome back to the channel, Beautiful Awakening with Shantia. Welcome to a wake-up call video with me. I'm so excited to be doing this with you guys. Please feel free to check out any of the other content on this channel. Okay, so the topic that I chose today for today's video is soul relationships, including maybe more of an in-depth discussion about karma as well. Also know that this channel is dedicated to your transformation, your alignment, as well as your healing. I'm also here to make spirituality fun and accessible for you. So I've just been sort of obsessed with this idea of getting more into understanding soul relationships. And I've done some research. I try to find some things on the internet. I've watched some videos. I've read some things through books. And there is no definitive understanding of the different relationships that we'll be talking about today, which is karmic mates, twin flames, soulmates, and divine counterparts. So those are all separate sections, and then I have a final, or in another category I also wanted to add to that list, and we'll be discussing that as well. So every relationship that we have or we experience on this earth is essentially a sacred contract. So I'm talking about a relationship. So this is someone who you're engaging with, you're talking with for a period of your life, a significant period of your life, and you're creating some kind of bond with them. Most of us are born into, with these sacred contract relationships, to a set of karmic relationships and soulmates. It's a combination of both. So usually your family, whatever you're born into, makes up a combination of both of those categories, is your soulmates or your karmic mates. And my understanding of karma, I know sometimes we think that karma means that we're being punished. Karma means revenge. But really what I've come to see it as, karma is, it's not something you're necessarily here to pay. It's a correction. It's a way for our energy to balance itself out. So sometimes we perhaps feel entitled to think that things are happening to us, like just for nothing, for no reason. And it was that, that feeling of things happening in my life, or feeling like things were happening to me, that drove me to connect with spirituality, because I wanted to make sense of it. I was like, what is the point of all of this chaos? What's the point of this mess? And what are the point of these karmic relationships that are, I'm like, why can't we just be born in these harmonious connections? And it's because we have sacred contracts. So our soul calls for us to activate sacred contracts. We're challenged in certain ways. And the karmic relationships we experience is a balancing of connections. So usually from a previous incarnation, any kind of mate, right, is a karmic mate or a soulmate, both of these categories who we typically encounter on a regular, throughout our life's journey, these are the relationships where we've had previous connections with these people. So perhaps in a previous relationship or a previous incarnation, your parents were your children, or perhaps your children was your life partner. Like it all likes to mix around, and thankfully the soul gives you amnesia. Like you get amnesia every lifetime, and you don't have to sift through that confusion. You just see them as, this is my parent, this is my sister, this is my life partner. Those karmic mates, typically those challenging situations, are those relationships that are pushing you to grow in some way or become aware. So the way that we really overcome our karma is we just become aware, we become conscious, and we use that relationship to serve as contrast for what we want to create in our life. So usually our karmic relationships shift around a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion for ourselves, and we're wanting to seek peace. And so without those karmic relationships, we wouldn't even seek the peace. We wouldn't even try to figure it out. We would sort of just be lazy in a sense, or just content. But the soul calls for evolution, and evolution requires for you to always be out of your comfort zone. We're naturally transcendent and transformative, creative, fluid beings. We cannot not transform unless we try to stay the same. And trying to stay the same is also resisting. When you're at a job and you feel like, I'm not passionate about this anymore, well, that's because you're being asked to evolve, you're being asked to transform. Or perhaps you're in a certain connection and you're just like, there's some kind of disconnect here. You're being asked to evolve. So perhaps that relationship served a purpose just for you to understand that you are here to evolve. So that is my understanding of karmic mates. It serves for you to understand what you need to evolve into, or what you need to be more aware of for yourself, and to create the life that you want, to live more in harmony with yourself and other people. And I'm going to do a reading after this. After I've uploaded this, I will have uploaded a reading that talks about the purpose of your relationship. And in that reading, what was really interesting, all of the different types of relationships, twin flames, karmic mates, soulmates, divine counterpart, all of that came up in the reading. I found it so fascinating. But I will be doing a reading after I shoot this video about any kind of karmic relationships, because certain karmic relationships make us realize different things about ourselves beyond just worthiness. You know, it's not just about love and worthiness. Some of them challenge you to come out of codependency, to move towards your desires. So one of my connections, interestingly enough, in a previous incarnation, I didn't fully pursue my dream. I just kind of stayed content, whatever, in the partnership, even though I wanted to do more. And in this lifetime, I could see the story is replaying in a certain way. So just going back to the karmic mate situation, again, it's about balance. So we might think that we see some kind of injustice in this world, but justice, injustice, everyone will see or experience some kind of karma at some point in time. And you might not see it in this lifetime, but that person's going to experience karma, which is why we think that we need to punish people. We have to create a punishment system and punish people. But what I'm finding to be more true is that karma, there are laws put in place where the punishment or the balancing, so to speak, already happens without you needing to seek it. But maybe you have a sacred contract where you feel like, I feel called to punish. But we are supposed to rise up out of taking an ill approach to resolving conflicts. So for example, if someone were hurting you, right, they were bullying you, choosing the shadow aspect of choosing a shadow action would only create more continuous karma for you. So if you choose to hit a bully back or hurt a bully back, that is actually just creating additional karma for you. If you choose to rise above it, release it, and move on, then you're choosing the light and the karma's release. So that's it. That's conscious awareness for you. Okay, so moving on to the next relationship. So one of the relationships I dived into, so I've been channeling, asking my guides about, I didn't talk about that, but I've been channeling, asking my guides about how all of these partnership works. And one of those partnerships was the twin flame dynamic, which is highly popular on the internet. People are so interested in the twin flame connection. And I think there's a lot of romanticizing around just relationships in general, but most definitely around the twin flame. So what my guides were showing me when it came to the twin flame connection is that it isn't really a romantic partnership. This is a creative chemistry partnership. This can come in any form. It could become in like best friends or like a sibling or whatever. It can come in many different forms. And a lot of people think that the unhealthy relationship dynamics that they're in are twin flame relationships, which a lot of those sound like karmic situations. And karmic situations, you just have to be conscious of repeating patterns to rise above it and attract a different situation into your life. So if you're going through some kind of very difficult, challenging experience with a partner, more than likely, 99% of the time, I'm gonna have to say that's probably a karmic mate. Like, I'm talking about like really challenging, like devastating, challenging energy. But I hear a lot of people talk about like twin flames, like, oh my gosh, don't go for a twin flame relationship. It's not a romantic partnership. It's a creative chemistry partnership. So my guides were showing me a lot of pentacles energy for this partnership. This person is actually here to help you realize your power, your confidence, to strive for your dreams. So one example would be any like duo in creativity that's created any kind of art. So let's say Key and Peele. If you guys have ever seen Key and Peele on YouTube, they created this these legendary comedic sketches on YouTube. They're hilarious. They, in a sense, kind of reflect this twin flame partnership. Like, it's together, you're on fire creatively with this other person, but it's not like we want to get in a romantic partnership. It's like you're pushing, or you're helping to inflame that person to pursue their goals and their desires. So if you're in a partnership where you're feeling limited or emotionally erratic, that's probably not a twin flame. I'm just saying. This person is going to actually help you to stabilize your ability to manifest and ground your dreams into reality. So a manager, for example, a manager and a talent duo will also be a really good twin flame partnership. Okay, so moving on to the next one, soulmates. So your soulmates, oh my gosh, I love this. As I'm like realizing, like I'm opening more to this, like this world and this understanding of soulmates, I'm like, oh my gosh, I definitely have met my soulmates in my life before. And you can tell, you can just feel that connection. You can sense that, wow, I've had a previous connection with this person. We've experienced, it just feels so easy. So soulmates really feel like family, and probably because they've been your family in previous incarnations. And the more that you open your consciousness, the more that you'll find yourself aligning with soulmates relatively easily because you're in alignment. So essentially you become a magnet for your soulmates and just living in alignment and living a life where you get to get assisted by your soulmates. So soulmates, even karmic mates, they all serve to help you evolve in some way. And soulmates are just there to support you in your evolutionary goals. It's a relatively easygoing partnership and connection where this person is just kind of here to support you being you, here to like be your friend, be by your side in you realizing your journey. And I always find it funny, like whenever I do the soulmate readings versus the future spouse readings, people flock to the future spouse readings versus the soulmate readings, and I'm like, they're the same thing. Like your future spouse is your soulmate. Otherwise they could be a karmic mate, and very rarely are they a divine counterpart, which we're going to get into talking about next. But your soulmates come in so many different forms. Could come in friends, cousins, family, blood-related family, non-blood-related family. They just generally feel like family. And sometimes it's a very brief connection. It doesn't mean that you have to sustain or be in the relationship forever. But this person is usually here to help you evolve in your journey and just believe in yourself. I think, again, we do have a tendency to like romance relationships and be like, oh my gosh, you're supposed to be with me forever. Not necessarily, it's always up to you to decide. But I would say a soulmate is a relatively harmonious partnership that would be very healthy for you to be in when it came to being in a long-term partnership with anyone. Okay, so that's kind of soulmates. You guys have experienced incarnation together, and then you guys kind of sign sacred contracts to come meet each other again, to support each other in your journey. And it's so crazy, like all of my soulmates, I'm like, the pattern is relatively the same. They're always supporting me in my dreams. They're always slightly like quite different from me actually, and they actually complement me. Usually they have qualities where I like need more of that in myself, and I probably have some qualities that they need. So my best friend without question was one of my soulmates. What was crazy is we actually both moved to the mainland from the islands the same exact year. We're the same age. We moved the same exact year, and we were in the same classes together. We started talking to each other. We've been friends for, I don't know, like 15 years since then. And we're slightly different in some ways, but we're also quite the same. Every time we're together, we're just in sync. Like it's relatively easy. It's very in sync. And neither of us are interested in like forcing each other or convincing each other to become anything else other than what we are. So we're very different, and we have like different paths, but we're here to support each other, like be a companion to one another, like loyal, supportive, kind. But we thought it was crazy. I was like, you're definitely my soulmate, because what are the chances? And we've been friends since, but we share a lot of similarities, even around, spirituality in a sense. It's just we experience it slightly differently. And without question, my sister is my soulmate. Like, I don't know. She was just always there for me, always so sweet. And every time I talk to her, it's just so easy. It's so easy. We'll talk about anything. We can go, weeks without talking to each other. But then when we do talk, it's like catching up like old friends. Like, it's like nothing's changed. I'm here to support her journey. Even when, it's not like you're not going to feel judgmental of your soulmates. Of course, you have that natural inclination as a human to want to judge other people, but it's going to be very accepting and very loving. Okay, so the other category we have here is divine counterparts. Now, this one really fascinated me as I was getting into it. A divine counterpart is more rare. It's not as common. This is someone who mirrors you. So all of the different relationships, you share something similar in one another. And one thing I did forget to say is that part of your spirit sometimes, specifically, like I think when it comes to like a life partner, like someone who you're really here to like build a life with or be in long-term relationships, part of your spirit is with them. That's what Carolyn Miss wrote about. She said that part of your spirit is kept with them so that when you see them, you recognize them. When you see them, you recognize them. You can't put your finger on it. You don't feel like you need to explain it. You just feel like you connect. Like a lot of us just feel like, oh yeah, we just connect. But part of your spirit is with them so that you can recognize them, so that you keep them alongside your journey. If you ever go through any kind of conflicts, you can lean on them to help you through. So a divine counterpart, interestingly enough, usually a relatively romantic partnership. And this is a high divine partnership. It's not as common. I would say, my recommendation to people, if they're looking for partnerships or connections, usually if you desire for one, it's probably because you are meant for one. But I honestly don't believe in manifesting people into my life. How should I say this? I don't really believe in it because I just feel like people show up when they need to. And I think sometimes we can force it, which you can force a connection into your life, but I probably wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend trying to like really hard manifest someone into your life. I would say give a lot of grace to it and surrender it, because you're going to find yourself aligning with the exact people you need in your life. So when it comes to divine counterparts, I would recommend like don't try to manifest a divine counterpart. It all depends on where your soul is at in its journey. At some point you will experience a divine counterpart. At some point you probably have experienced a twin flame, and at some point you most definitely will experience karmic mates and soulmates. So divine counterparts is typically someone who mirrors you, and this is someone who you also carry a sacred contract with to come in this lifetime to create a life together, but there's also a sense of loyalty to a mission to one another as a divine counterpart. Usually you guys are very similar in the lifestyle or the mission that you want to create for yourselves. And typically this is when someone would come into your lifetime as a divine counterpart, because your soul is at a certain level of evolution where it just needs the right kind of partnership for it to build or like bring a high frequency energy into this earth. Usually those soulmate relationships are more casual. It's kind of like you're just living your life. But a divine counterpart relationship, it's a very intense sacred contract for you to build or be something in this world, or create or build, like raise the frequency in this world some way, because your relationship is very healing to the earth. One couple I would definitely recommend as a divine counterpart is Deva Primal and Mitten. I don't know if they're married or not. I just know that they've been together for like, I think 30 years or so. But they're artists, they're performers, and everyone always had so much admiration for their relationship, and that would be a really good example. Another good example would be Eckhart Tolle and his wife. Another good example would be Oprah and Stedman. And yes, so these are really good examples of high divine counterpart couplings where these people, they have a strong sense of purpose and they want to share that mission with that other person. But what I was also interested in was that the divine counterpart, you've never experienced a encounter with this person before. They're totally new. They're a new mate. There's no karma with that person. There's no soul. It's really refreshing. So there's something about that relationship that almost feels like a huge blessing for a lot of people, because it's almost like it's so new. It feels new because it is new. You've never there's going to be a familiarity, but when you're in the connection, it's going to feel very profound. Like you want to savor every single moment. So that's what I've learned about divine counterparts. They're very fascinating, and I couldn't find a lot of information about it. That was the most mysterious one, and I tried to look it up online, and someone wrote an article about it on the website. I think it's medium.org or medium.com. You guys can go ahead and check it out for yourself. But the article was really descriptive in just saying that you mirror this person. I've also heard other people say that you can choose to be or not be in this partnership. But the thing is, this is a very harmonious partnership for you to kind of fulfill a lot of your goals and desires. So more than likely you would choose to be in this partnership long term, or till the, until it ended, because it's just like together you guys are stronger in a way. Together you guys are stronger. So the final category I wanted to add to these soul relationships is sacred mirrors. Every person on this earth, every encounter that you experience with another person is a sacred mirror. And I talk about this all the time. I feel like every person is your mirror. Every person is your mirror, whether it's a soulmate, a twin, it doesn't matter. It's an opportunity for you to evolve. It's an opportunity for you to get to know yourself more, and to reflect and to think about, how am I here to evolve? I always say, what are we here to do but to know who we are, to find out who we are. And that is what every encounter that you've ever had in your life allows you to do, is to help you figure out who you are. So that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like, subscribe to support, and let me know what you're thinking, experiencing, and let me know what you thought about it. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Strong.